Let's get ready to rumble!
The gloves are coming off.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable!
We're about to go full court press.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan!
It's time to play ball.
Malone looking for his first hit of the year. He drives one! Deep left field! That goes Upton! Back near the wall! It's out of here! Bartolo has done it! The impossible has happened!
Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now.
Stay off the weed!
Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
That's right. 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We got some big news to talk about. Let's say who's here first, all right? I am Matt Leonard. I'm your host for this Thursday afternoon. I am joined by the wonderful, incomparable Josh Umahi. Hello, Josh.
Wow, okay.
Gotta let the people know.
That's true. I appreciate that. I don't know how I'm doing today, Matt.
All right.
It's really
You having a good week at least?
I'm having a great week.
Good.
In terms of the last 24 hours. Listen, I know I can speak for a big chunk of our listeners when I say Mets and Knicks fans. The past 24 hours have been a roller coaster. What an amazing night at Citi Field last night. From the DeGrom performance, and we'll get to the Nimmo catch and everything.
Yeah.
Timmy Trumpets.
I need a Brandon Nimmo jersey after last night.
Oh,
I really want one now.
Need one.
Like, if he walks into the year, it's worth the purchase. Like, I'm telling you now. And we got two other people in the room, if you don't mind, guys.
Please.
Brayton Daniello, you've been here so much this week. I love it. What's going on, my man?
I am phenomenal right now, Matt.
Because you don't like basketball.
Well,
That's why you're doing
that might be
well.
a positive right now by the sound of it, because Josh doesn't. Josh has been through a roller coaster, like you said. But phenomenal night at Citi Field. I mean, Jacob DeGrom, phenomenal as always. Can't ask for more.
Of course.
Aside from a little bump in the road from Mookie Betts, pitch phenomenal, and the bullpen shutting it down. You imagine the Mets holding the number one team in baseball to just 3 hits last night?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Timmy Trumpet entering with Diaz. That's just, you can't ask for more. And Brandon Nimmo's catch, obviously, to make a 2-1 lead stand up. And, you know, like I said, Brandon Nimmo, I feel like, is a guy. I don't want to talk too much. Let's get into it later because
All right,
I got too much to
we'll
talk
get to the
about
Mets. I
Nimmo
promise
right now.
you, we're getting to the Mets. And because we had someone making their WHPC Sports Talk debut here. We got a rookie, Nico Each. How are you, Nico?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I mean, we look forward to doing more shows with you, obviously. And I do this with everybody that comes on the show brand new. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what teams you are a fan of.
So I'm a freshman here at Nassau Community College.
Great.
Welcome.
Studying sports marketing.
Very nice. Very nice.
Huge.
We'll make it
Rangers
communications by next year.
fan. Oh, for sure.
By next semester.
I came here studying music, and look what I'm doing now.
No, but yeah, I'm a huge Rangers fan.
This guy
Yeah.
is smart.
We like
Very
you already.
smart.
Keep going.
Oh, my God.
What else you like?
Mets fan.
Yeah!
Knicks fan.
Yay!
And a Packers fan.
This guy is me.
He's your soulmate.
This guy is me.
Oh, you know, I'm sure if Corey's listening, he's going to be thrilled. There's
Corey's
another.
in Texas. Let him be alone.
No, he hates because I'm a Saints fan myself, right? This kid hates out-of-state New York football fans.
And he particularly hates my our Green Bay Packers for whatever reason.
Wasn't he going at it with Eric the other week about because he was a Cowboys fan, right?
That's different. That's in division. I understand that.
Yeah, I know.
Corey's a Giants fan. I get the in division thing.
I'm gonna check you on something real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
You're really wondering why on earth somebody would hate the Green Bay Packers? Really? Really?
No. I'm not wondering why a fan that doesn't like them would hate them. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying Corey. I don't get why he hates them personally.
Maybe he doesn't like cheese. I don't know. It could.
Yeah, maybe he's lactose intolerant.
Maybe Corey doesn't do Percocet before shows.
or psychedelics.
My knee. It was my knee.
You know, I was thinking about that this week. Like, because Aaron Rodgers swears by it. Like, so imagine, like, to up my performance, I try to
Show up on purpose.
yeah, or you know,
Or psychedelics or whatever this man does winning back to make MVPs.
I'm hallucinating Skip Bayless over there and Stephen A over there and Max Kellerman over there. It'd be, I don't know. It might be.
Could you imagine on the field? Oh my God, Stephen A's open.
Oh my God.
No, trust me. The world does not.
Romeo
wanna,
Dobbs is like, what do you mean?
The world does not want to see or hear me on shrooms. That's never gonna happen.
We're gonna move on now.
Yes.
All right. Well, Eric. Oh my God.
Drugs-
So many new people. Maybe
Yes.
I'm on Percocet. Nico, I'm not. I promise, but don't condone that here. Nico, welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Look forward to a good show and hopefully a good future with you here. It should be a great ride. Speaking of great rides and not so great rides, as you said it, John, it's been a roller coaster if you're a Mets and Knicks fan. I was planning on coming in here, being on top of the world. The Mets just beat the Dodgers. We just heard Timmy Trumpet live. Then 20 minutes ago, I get a text and I'm like, no, that's starting the show. All right, so Knicks fans, we've been doing the Spider Watch for 2 months? Over 2 months?
Spider swiped.
Now, Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz has been traded. No Knicks fans. He's not coming to the Garden. He'll be headed to Cleveland to be a Cleveland Cavalier.
You know what? I woke up today. I don't know what caused me to think this,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to tell anybody. But I just felt a Donovan Mitchell trade is going to happen today or tomorrow. I felt it.
Did you think it would go this way?
The Cavs? Where did the Cavs come from? Everyone was talking about the
They were
Knicks.
declared
Knicks,
out
Knicks,
a week
Knicks,
and a half
Knicks.
ago. Remember that?
They dropped out.
They were declared out.
Yep. Ian Begley of SNY tweets the Cleveland Cavaliers have dropped out of the trade discussions, and it's been so weird. And you kind of felt something building up with the Woj report a few days ago, with the RJ Barrett extension, and him saying, you know,
That was the deadline for Leon Rose.
the deadline for Leon Rose. Yeah, he basically
Which is stupid, by the way.
Why do you say that?
I say, if the Jazz made a deadline and said, make us the offer we want by this date or it's off the table. Great negotiating tactic by the Jazz. The Knicks need Donovan Mitchell more than the Jazz need whatever they're getting back for him.
That's why I don't.
So why would Leon Rose shoot himself in the foot, really, and say, okay, this is our last day negotiating? The Jazz are probably like, there's 29 other teams, that's fine.
Well, you might say that about Leon Rose, but you could say Danny Ainge was kind of, is this really the return you wanted? And I guess I should read the return now.
Go ahead and read it. I'll let you read it because the Knicks could have put together a far better trade package.
They could have.
And they did.
Yeah.
They're holding on to guys, whatever. But
Because everyone in the sports media world knew that the Knicks had the most to offer.
Of course.
But here's what the Jazz settled on and deemed.
Emphasis on settled, by the way.
Yeah, deemed acceptable for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen,
I like that.
Colin Sexton,
I
who
really
was
like
a
that.
really interesting part of all
I
this.
really like him going over there.
I'll make a point about that a little later.
Okay.
Ochai Agbaji, whoever that
Benny
is.
Agbayani. Benny Agbayani got traded to Cleveland.
Shout out Benny Agbayani.
I love Benny Agbayani. Great old timers day ovation, by the way.
Absolutely. He deserved it too.
Huge.
He deserved it.
That guy's one of the folk heroes. Like, we're going.
Absolutely. And yeah, those three players.
Now comes the interesting piece.
Yeah, 3 unprotected first-round picks
Mm-hmm.
and 2 pick swaps is the return for Donovan Mitchell. Now, mind you, the Knicks had, I believe, they had 11 tradable picks.
They're willing to give up 7 at one point. All first round. They're going to have 7 first-round picks. One of the offers, reported offers, was 7 first-rounders. And then, quickly, and, all these guys. And, I'm thinking, if you're Danny Ainge, were you maybe mad that Leon Rose made a deadline? You know what? Screw the New York Knicks. We're going to trade in the Eastern Conference somebody else.
That was always in the back of my mind because if you know Danny Ainge as a player for the Celtics, hard-nosed, all the things they say, scrappy, intangibles, fundamentally sound, all the
Like a
stuff
Marcus
they throw
Smart
at.
kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly. Him as a player, tenacious guy, right?
Yeah.
Goes to the front office, multiplies that or kind of. Yeah, that's him as an executive too. Yeah. Even more so. So, and we saw it time and time again with the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. But this guy's he's beefed with other executives. He has a long-standing beef with Pat Riley of the Miami Heat, who Donovan Mitchell was also linked to. And you just think everything I just said about Danny Ainge, would he be maybe not dumb but petty enough to say, all right, the Knicks want to give me a deadline? Who is Leon Rose to give me a deadline for a Donovan Mitchell package or a Donovan Mitchell trade? Maybe I'll just, cut my losses and say, all right, I'm going to trade him to another team for less. Because that's what this boiled down to. The Knicks, everyone in the sports world agreed, had the most offer, the most picks. I love Quentin Grimes as a player, as a young prospect. Obi Toppin, we talk about all the time. They had, as far as young players and picks, it was the Knicks, and everybody else was a distant second, third, fourth, including the Cavs. Yep. So, in the back of my mind, I was always fearful of, is Danny Ainge petty enough? Is he psycho enough to accept less to spite the Knicks? And honestly, reading this return, I don't think it's a bad return. But for Donovan Mitchell, who's still only 25 years old, who's still an all-NBA, all-star player, I really think Danny Ainge might have cut off his nose to spite his face here. That's really what it seems like. And this is the thing in terms of, we talk about leverage all the time, right?
Yeah.
Leverage has been the most overused word in Knicks Twitter for 2 months.
Absolutely.
Who has the leverage? People were saying, and I didn't believe this, that the Knicks had no leverage because there's so much pressure from the fans and from the media to get Donovan Mitchell. We all know the LOL Knicks thing and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's really going hard now.
New York teams have that issue.
Yeah, it's really going hard on social media now, by the way. They are killing the Knicks. Knicks fans and non-Knicks fans alike. But that was kind of the discussion. Does pressure to acquire this guy, superstar player, 25 years old, a walking 25, 5-5, get him in the Garden, would go crazy. Is there pressure on Leon Rose to get that done? Does that put leverage, does that swing leverage in the Utah Jazz's direction?
I don't know. I'm just still so upset. I hate when trades like this happen because, like I said, you've been saying, everyone's been saying this, the Knicks have the most to offer.
Yeah.
This seems so much like he doesn't want to trade him to New York. It really is screaming that to me. We'll never know is the craziest part. We'll never find out.
And you look at what the Cavs gave up again, and the player I wanted to circle back to was Colin Sexton. Because this guy, when last seen healthy, was a 24 points per game scorer.
Yes.
Now, if you want to call it, it's a pandemic year, no fans, it was easier to score that year, you can call it whatever you want. A 24 point per game scorer is still a 24 point per game scorer, and that's what the Jazz got in return. And by the way, we talk about the Knicks with, R.J. Barrett, who was kind of rumored with the Jazz. We talk about the Heat and Tyler Hero. Both of those guys, you would have had to pay, if you're the Jazz, a max or damn near close to it. They only gave Colin Sexton 4 years, $72 million for a 24 points per game score, in addition to 3 unprotected picks.
They give him 4 years, 72?
4 years, 72.
That's all. Wow. Was he an all-star 4 years ago?
He was an all-star.
Yeah.
That same year, he averaged 24, and he was rumored to angle for a max contract this summer, but he got hurt.
I know he got hurt, but I've never in my life seen a guy's. What was the injury? What was it, Achilles or something that bad, or was it not that bad? I know he missed a year, but was it that level?
It wasn't. I don't remember the exact injury. It wasn't anything crazy major. It was enough to keep him out for the second half of the season.
All I'm saying is, if Kevin Durant, I'm not comparing these two guys as greatness.
Sure.
If Kevin Durant can tear his Achilles and come back and be basically the same player, a little regression, basically the same player, what's to say Colin Sexton with the right drive and motivation can't be, not Kevin Durant, but what Colin Sexton was before.
Right.
If he goes from 24 to 20 points and you're paying him that money, that's the best contract in the league.
When he's healthy and he's on, he can score, he can get steals, he can play defense, he can be an irritant.
Yep.
And they call him the young bull. He really got that dog in him.
Talk about hard-nosed player, like you said. Colin Sexton, when he's healthy, is that guy.
He really is, and that's so the Jazz in terms of, again, the players they got back, and marketing too. Marketing was a huge part of the Cavs' success last year. The 3 big men they would play, and we never thought that would work in today's NBA. But it worked for them last year.
Most of them can shoot, except for Jared Allen. They could all shoot.
Yeah.
That was why it worked.
Absolutely. So, marketing was a big part of that. So, marketing and Sexton, those are 2 really, really good players. You
Absolutely.
get 3 unprotected first-round picks.
That's great.
That's really good. 2 pick swaps.
Especially if the Jazz are really going to stink it up like everyone expects.
Oh, they're gonna stink, yeah.
Of course.
Be last in the West.
Those are likely going to be 3 lottery picks. Likely. Unless they get that OKC Thunder with Chris Paul type year, which is not going to happen with the players they have.
So again, it's when I say all of that, the players and the picks, the Jazz did make out pretty good. They made out pretty good, but the Knicks, we all know it. They had the most to offer. They could have offered more, and I'm very interested to see with, because Stephen A. Smith and everyone else is going to be screaming about this tomorrow.
We're going to hear, why is it Donovan Mitchell on New York Knicks?
I'm already not looking forward to it so much, but
I'm not going to watch. I never watched First Take. I'm especially not watching it.
Josh, you think Stephen A. Smith's going to pull over on the highway again and go on a rant on his phone?
If I could call First Take,
this might rival
if First Take could be called up, I would so do that. Yo, you bona fide scrub.
Josh's going to turn on ESPN or something tomorrow and see if it's this is blasphemous. I cannot believe.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier.
But at like 100 times the volume too.
Oh yeah, forget about it.
You don't have to turn on ESPN anymore. The crazy thing is that Sports Center and ESPN's accounts don't post sports anymore unless Stephen A. is talking. Do you notice that? You on
I can guarantee you they're going to be posting about this one.
ESPN and Sports Center, they don't post many sports highlights anymore. Even as baseball's going on, it's in full swing.
Yeah, I know, it's bad.
They're like, oh, but Stephen A. said this about the Yankees, and it's like...
But I'll say, I bring up Stephen A. to say, like, I'm really interested amongst all the outrage that's going to be here tonight, tomorrow. We're going to find out a lot about Leon Rose's strategy the last 2 months in these talks. Because it went from, remember they made the draft night trade.
Yeah, they traded away the first round pick to Detroit.
And he puts out that weird, like,
yeah, Knicks fans, trust us. We have a plan.
Trust us. We have 11 first-round picks in the next 7 years, and trust us. It's all going to work out.
We want to win right now, though. As fans, you always want to win now as a fan, but I don't think the Knicks are primed to make a championship run.
No.
What do they get Mitchell? They're still not going to make a championship run next year. No.
There was nothing the Knicks could have done this summer to put them in championship contention.
Absolutely not. I don't care if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came here from the Nets. I still say no.
It wasn't going to happen regardless. But it was a good opportunity. If you landed Donovan Mitchell and you have this upcoming free agent class in 2024, Jaylen Brown, anybody? Or Kawhi Leonard, potentially anybody?
I'm not saying over Jaylen Brown in a heartbeat.
I would take Jaylen Brown too, absolutely.
No, I would take Kawhi over Jaylen Brown.
But in terms of those two,
split second.
I think Kawhi stays in LA. I just bring him up to say like he's going to be a free agent technically.
I think Kawhi also stays in LA, but not with his current team.
No.
LeBron's contract will be up by the time LeBron will be a free agent. Think about that.
But
LeBron's in that class you just talked about.
So you think Kawhi would just
be a Laker?
Why?
I think if they lose LeBron, they're going to pivot. I don't think LeBron stays there. The only way LeBron stays there is if they draft Bronny James, and they won't.
But no, if Kawhi wanted to be a Laker, though, he would be one already.
No, he wouldn't.
What do you mean?
I don't think he wants to play with a guy like LeBron.
I don't think he wants to. I think Kawhi is the kind of guy who wanted to be in LA, but he wanted to do it kind of like, he didn't want to be in the spotlight.
He wanted to be like, well, like I can live in Southern California where I grew up, and I can not play for the circus that is the LA Lakers.
Yeah, he doesn't want the spotlight. I don't see that happening. But Jaylen Brown might be something. But it would have been nice.
He'll be intriguing if the Celtics don't pay him.
And then he's going to test free agency.
Him a ton of money.
He's going to test free agency. So
I hope he does.
And again, that's a possibility. But damn, that would have been nice to pair with Donovan Mitchell.
Jaylen Brown?
It would have been nice to pair him with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell would have been the perfect chess piece. You put him on the board. You attract free agents. People look at the Knicks, and they're like, Donovan Mitchell, R.J. Barrett?
With strictly the name you mentioned of Jaylen Brown. Mm-hmm. I don't like that fit on the Knicks if they have Mitchell. I mean, because think about it. Brunson would be your point guard. Mitchell would be your 2. Barrett's your 3. Is Brown a bench guy? No.
They could, listen, small ball is all the rage. You could hypothetically
I would never put all 4 of those guys in the court at the same time.
I disagree with you.
I would never do that.
As long as you have a shot blocking big man, you could.
Where does Obi go? 5? That's way too small.
But you get the talent in here and then you work out the lineups later.
I don't think that ever works in the NBA. Get the talent, work out the lineups later. That's why Kawhi didn't go to LA. Because at the time, they had, a log jam at his position, and it was a great problem to have with LeBron James being one of them. But where would Kawhi play if he was in the Lakers that year? You know what I mean? It worked out with the Clippers because Paul George moved to shooting guard. That was fine.
Right.
But Kawhi plays small forward and sometimes power forward, and it works out great. LeBron does the same thing, and at the time, the Lakers had AD playing power forward and LeBron playing small forward. There's no room for Kawhi Leonard there. So, I get what you're saying, though, get a bunch of great players, but you really have to think about position. And if they're flexible,
Right.
If you're willing to put a guy to stick in their position, the guy's willing to play it, fine. That works out great, and he can do it good.
I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this because I'm surprisingly. Listen, I wanted Donovan Mitchell more than anybody, but like, I'm not that broken up about it. I guess because I like Quentin Grimes, I like Quickly, I like Toppin, I like having draft capital. Again,
McBride too.
McBride, they have some
a lot of young guards.
Jericho Sims as well. So you keep all of those guys. You have draft picks. Now again, people would argue if we got Donovan Mitchell, what would the next ceiling be? Would we go from
future-wise or this year?
This year.
Okay.
Will we go from playing team to where do we go?
Their ceiling is what they did in the COVID year, 4 seed.
4 seed.
Based on what the East looks like, they're a 4 seed if everything goes right if they get Mitchell.
So,
but then think about the future, though.
Absolutely. But as a Knicks fan, like short term, because this stuff goes year to year.
Yeah.
Would you say it's better to keep all the young guys we have, give them another year to develop, keep our draft picks, and we don't sell it all for a guy that doesn't put us in the immediate championship contention?
Yes.
Do you kind of, again, you might be, as a Knicks fan, talking yourself off the ledge here, because, listen, we all wanted Donovan Mitchell. We thought he was going to be a stud in the Garden, box office, right? Mm-hmm. But this, if we kind of take the disappointment off of our faces right now, and you think about it,
yes,
this might be better in terms of the future of this team, because Danny Ainge.
It's a gamble, but I say you're right.
Yeah, and for better or worse, Danny Ainge wanted to fleece us. That's very clear. He wanted to fleece us, fleece the Knicks. So again, he accepted less from the Cavs, in my opinion.
That's almost a more fair trade, honestly, that the Cavs did. He knew the Knicks had more and was like, "Give me everything," or he's going elsewhere.
So that.
It was almost like pay a tax to get him not to go to the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and I would tell Knicks fans today, if you're mad at Leon Rose or James Dolan, I get it. They're not. They haven't shown themselves to be like the greatest things since sliced bread, right?
Nope.
But if you really want to direct your anger at somebody, it's Danny Ainge, because Danny Ainge pretty much said, "I'm either going to fleece the Knicks or I'm just going to spurn them and choose a lesser offer to piss them off," and that's what he's done.
Wow,
that's how I feel.
I want to get more into this tomorrow, but we got to talk about the Mets. So
yeah, let's do it. Let's get some positive vibes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
you are listening to WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. It's Matt, Josh, Nico, and Braden here with you on this Thursday afternoon. 516-572-7440 is the number to join the show, like always. I'm going to talk about the Mets game last night because that, to me, screams for so many reasons game of the year.
It might be.
I'm not talking about they didn't blow anybody out. It was a hard-fought game. That, to me, is game of the year so far.
I think it was a pitcher's duel like everyone expected. Both starters go 7 both finish on 93 pitches. Yep. Jacob deGrom, as we've seen so many times, ERA now 1.98, record 4-1, strikes out 9. And I just want to say, for a lot of people discredit deGrom, but I think one now when Mookie Betts, when one of the best outfielders in baseball comes out and says that Jacob deGrom might be the best ever to pitch, you know you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
Definitely know you're doing something beyond right. And I think also to bring up the fact the Mets had Tyler Anderson, just his third loss of the season, now 13-3. He only strikes out 3, 2 earned runs, obviously, on 8 hits.
He's a huge strikeout guy, but still, yeah.
Yeah. But and two Mets that I really want to highlight are Starling Marte, who homers in back-to-back games, now 16 home runs on the season.
I know we're going with the next one.
Loved what I've seen from him. And another guy that's gotten a lot of crap thrown on his plate and a lot of hate in the last couple weeks, and that's Brandon Nimmo. 2 hits last night, I think both to the opposite field, if I remember
I don't care if he went home for 5. He maybe was the player of the game.
Oh, yeah,
the catch.
2 hits, and then just the icing on the cake to make that catch. I was talking to Matt before the show, and I think Josh might remember this also. Brandon Nimmo made a very similar catch against the Pittsburgh Pirates last season in, I think, mid-July about.
Yep.
But the difference between that one and this one is in the game against Pittsburgh, he had time to hover underneath the wall. This one, he had to make the catch in stride, knowing well he was going to crash into the wall, had no time to settle under it, and made probably the most phenomenal catch I've ever seen, but maybe the catch of the year. I mean,
given the situation, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We were saying this before. Justin Turner hits that ball, unless Nimmo catches it, it's obviously going out. It ties the game.
It was a home run.
If Nimmo doesn't make that catch, the game is tied, and it's a whole different set of circumstances. And they're playing the best team in baseball. The Mets have the second best record. Dodgers are still far ahead of them.
Yeah.
They're playing the best team in baseball. They're trying to get DeGrom a win. All these things, and they're in the middle of a pennant race right now.
I think what highlights that play more than ever is DeGrom and Nimmo's reactions. Nimmo's reaction was probably everyone in Citi Field. Am I wrong?
You never see emotion out of Jake, by the way. That's crazy.
Out of Jacob DeGrom, but when you see Jacob DeGrom show emotion, you know it's a big play, and that shows how big. And Nimmo's reaction, pumping the fist, showing
love that,
dude.
Oh my God.
I told you guys too. I'll tell you this: there are so many moments as a Mets fan and a Rangers fan that I've seen throughout my life that left me absolutely speechless.
Absolutely.
And to see that, I was in awe. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, did he just catch that? And then he comes down with the ball. He's showing it to everyone. He's pumping his fist to the crowd. Just the 7 lines going crazy out in right center. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Nico, you got the Mets hat on. You claim you're a Mets fan. Did you watch the game last night, first of all?
I watched most of it, yeah.
Okay, did you see Nimmo's catch live?
I did.
Lucky you, because I was out. I turned the beginning of the game on, and I thought, okay, pitchers do all keep up with on my phone. I get a notification about that, and I'm thinking, what did I miss?
I think Matt should turn off the game more often.
I shouldn't watch any more
the Mets and
baseball.
the Dodgers are playing right now, but we don't have it on the TV.
You know, let's actually not do that, because I'd rather make another spectacular catch by a player happen.
Okay, fair enough.
But Nico, what do you think of the win last night? Obviously a big win for the Mets.
Right. Well, speaking about the catch, when that happened, I started freaking out in my living room, and my dad had the most confused look on his face when that happened.
Was he watching it with you?
No, he was watching me watch the game.
Oh, he wasn't watching the game.
He does not like baseball. No.
I really thought he was watching the game with you, and he went, "Why are you cheering? What happened?" I was thinking, if he's a Dodger fan, then whatever. But
Oh my!
To that point, Nico, like, I love when, this is gonna sound stupid, but I love when players care.
oh yeah,
It sounds like it sounds.
The only thing better than the catch might have been his post-game interview.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
And we know
Unbelievable.
Brandon Nimmo, Mr. Sprint to first base on a walk. He cares.
When he says that, I'm like, injected a Nimmo extension into my veins.
right now,
Why
right now,
has this
right now.
man not? Because he is so underrated. He's so underrated because he's not a Starling Marte. He doesn't have the name out there. But as a leadoff hitter, he's been great, aside from a few slumps, which we've seen with plenty of Mets this season.
Happens.
But his defense has become something that I've never seen before. And I'm just like, why do you not want this man for the next 3-4 years playing center field with some of the plays he's made? He's so energetic. He's so much fun to watch. And we saw it all last night. Everything this guy does, I mean, just screams energy.
Do you remember?
I love every second of it.
Do you remember the questions about even in 2020? Can Nimmo play a good center field?
Oh,
Do the Mets have a real center fielder? Look at this.
Nimmo said that, and he said, "Hold my beer."
Are you kidding me right now? I mean, if you know anything about Brandon Nimmo, I'll hold my glass of water. But
I love that.
hold my heckin' glass of water.
But you know, I bring up like with players caring. It sounds bare minimum, but like when you make a play like that and you know the fans are going crazy.
Yeah.
I love when players just lean into it. Pump your fist to get hyped, get pumped. Like, I love that. I love that.
I have a
Reaction to
prime
that catch was literally every Mets fan, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
Every Mets fan was pumping their fist.
I wanted to pump my fist and freaking fall to the ground in my living room. I wanted to fall off the couch.
Come on, man.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
I have a prime example of when players don't care. We were listening with the Mets recently. Brayden, you said it before the show. Yoenis Cespedes was great, but that guy didn't care.
He was very what's the word?
More off-field antics with Cespedes.
No, I'm talking about he made a great play. He tried to play it off cool, like, yeah, I did that.
Well, he was, he's a cool dude. He's a cool, calm, and collected.
No, I agree, but I'd much rather watch Brandon Nimmo jump up and scream.
I agree.
He just made the play of the year.
Absolutely. I agree.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I agree.
You made a big home run, Cespedes hit. He just flip his bat lightly and jog around the bases with a straight face.
That's true.
If Nimmo hit that big of a home run, like remember Cespedes hit the walk-off and the whole Lion King thing started? Mm-hmm. If Nimmo hit that home run, right, we'd see him flying around the bases, arms out like a jet plane, probably pumping his fist like, let's go! Let's go!
Smile from freaking ear to ear.
Yes.
Forget about it.
God.
That's why not only why I love Brandon Nimmo, but there's something about, and I watched 2006.
The whole team, right?
I'm an old man. I'm old enough to remember the 2006 Mets.
My first memory of the Mets is Adam Wainwright and Carlos Beltran.
I'm sorry.
And I still decided to continue on, by the way. I thought it's got to get better from here. I was wrong.
It's been rough until this year, and I bring up the 2006 Mets because that team was like the offense, Wright, Delgado, Beltran.
The chemistry, they were fun.
They were fun. They had the city on fire. They had Queens on fire. I remember as a kid. There's something about this team that's giving me the same, the vibes are immaculate. It's incredible.
Can I give you a take? I don't know if it's hot or not. I think this team, if you compare talent, is better.
That's an interesting little...
I think they're... I'm with some people on Twitter that are saying this is the best on-the-field play team since '86. I'm with that opinion. This is the best, most complete, except for the bullpen, of course. But I'm not saying put that in there, though.
You look at the Mets roster, it's like, what weaknesses do they have besides catcher and bullpen?
Bullpen's the big weakness, of course.
And the thing is, they're that good a team where it's like, I could live with McCann.
That's what I'm saying. Even the bullpen, I'm almost okay with it. We trash Joely Rodriguez and guys like that all the time.
Well, yeah, because the bullpen's been a liability all season.
Absolutely. We saw last night when the good guys in the bullpen are on, they can protect the one-run lead and win.
Only 3 hit. 1, 2, 3 innings for Ottavino and Diaz.
We were on them yesterday.
Facing one of the best lineups and some of the best hitters in baseball right now. Keep that in mind.
We were on the New York Mets yesterday, Brayton. You were here. We were saying, why wouldn't you bring Ottavino? I even said
Ross Levine was on the Mets, and I have to. When we talk about the Yankees, I'm gonna have to bring up what Ross Levine said about Garrett Cole.
I love how Brayton's here for like 2 weeks. He knows Ross hates the Mets.
He knows everybody's agendas already.
He's like, well,
Ross, we love you, but lighten up, man.
Know me and know that I talk about the Mets. I'm like, they think I'm the stereotypical New York fan where one loss and the season's over for both Rangers and Mets. And I want to try and be more positive now. There's been one loss this season where I said, okay, I think the Mets are almost done. That was the Houston game where Jason Castro homered off Drew Smith.
I was right there with
Jason
you.
Castro was, I think, a sub-100 hitter. That's
at the time, yes, he was.
That's the one loss I really panicked on.
Man.
But other than that, and another point I like to make up.
Yeah.
The Mets have done, and I don't want to. I'm going to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on.
You know what? Don't say it. No, fine.
No, I'm not
we're on the
radio. So it cancels out. They've held Trey Turner at bay this series. He's
no! Why would you say that out loud?
I'm knocking on wood.
Look at the history. Trey Turner, when he was a national, killed.
Don't worry, Matt. I'll burn some sage in the studio after the show.
Don't worry.
Can we please just get rid of the jinx energy with that one? Because now I feel like they're going to meet the Dodgers in the NLCS and he's going to win MVP.
By the way,
this series they've done it so far.
Speaking of jinx energy, so Jacob deGrom didn't allow a hit through the first 4 innings.
What did you do?
No,
but he does pitch 7 innings.
Who did it? No. Who did it? And Gary Cohen couldn't wait to point it out to everybody. The first thing he says, Jacob deGrom's retired the first 13 hitters. The very next second, single into left field, and Keith Hernandez is like, from out of your mouth to left field, Gary.
You actually call that in New York, right?
Yeah.
Pulling a Michael K.
Yes.
I think
that's the total jab. He does that all the time.
Thing we saw from deGrom last night, he throws 7 innings, obviously, for the first time this season. Love to see that. But he gets through with 9 Ks, 3 hits, and I said 9 strikeouts. ERA now 1.98, but he only did it on 93 pitches.
That was to me that was 2018, 2019 Jacob deGrom.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was when Gary was saying, master at the top of his craft. That's what Jacob deGrom was last night.
Oh, absolutely. And you see it all the time. Every time this man takes the mound, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
You have to tune in to watch when Jacob deGrom, especially if you're a Mets fan. But if you're a baseball fan, you have to tune in. You got to be asking yourself, what is this guy going to do today?
He is the definition of box office.
Yeah, and when
absolutely,
you don't. I'm not even going to mention John Tavares, but
why?
I'm not.
You're a Ranger fan. It would come off kind of smug. I'll be honest.
Yeah, but I don't want to because I know I'm going to jinx it again.
Oh God!
But you have to ask,
Tavares.
what does Steve Cohen send? Whatever you have to keep this. The fan base adores him. I don't even want to imagine if Jacob deGrom leaves this team because that might be darker than Tavares.
No,
it would be. And on top of the fact that a lot of Met fans are also Islander fans. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Jacob deGrom, I agree. I 100% agree with you, Brady. He deserves to be a Met for life.
If he chooses to.
Yeah, you look at the Mets offseason. It's a tough offseason. You got him, you got Edwin Diaz, and Brandon Nimmo. And those are 3. Obviously, Diaz right now probably the most electrifying, maybe the best closer in baseball. I just want to mention, so we're on the topic of closers. Josh Hader got an MLB save the other day. Hallelujah. Amen.
He did his job.
I saw it. I almost like Hallelujah was playing in the background on my phone. I just unbelievable. I was stunned. I was like,
Yo.
it says hater got to save. This is ridiculous.
Do we realize how many games back the Padres are of the Dodgers now?
It's
I want to guess. I'm going to go
like
14.
19.
14.
18 and a half.
Oh, my
That
God.
is brutal. That is just, and I know the Dodgers were well ahead of them at the trade deadline.
Enjoy Juan Soto, San Diego.
That is really, really stinky.
Have fun.
That's bad.
It's like that meme where it's like, yeah, we got Soto, Drury, and it's like all that, and it's like Dodgers 18 and a half lead, go Burr, like something like one of those things. And Matt, I talk about it all the time, the amount of talent, and Josh, and to be fair, Soto's been good, but there have been pieces that have not worked in San Diego. Hader has not worked.
No.
Bell has not been good.
Oh, Bell's been bad.
And it's like, I don't know. The NL West, it's always been Dodger country, except for when the Giants had their dynasty. And even some of the years the Dodgers won. Not the Dodgers, the Giants. The Giants won their World Series. They came out of the wild card. It's like, that's the Dodgers division.
You don't know it yet. I don't know if Matt told you, but every time the San Francisco Giants are brought up on this show.
Josh made the worst prediction I've ever heard on this show preseason. I'm going to call you out for a second, Josh.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst you've ever heard on this show.
In terms of predictions for before a season, how they ended up. I've never heard a worse than this.
I'm sure we've heard worse takes than mine.
We'll check the tape, but right now, that's my statement.
I'm going to guess you projected the Giants to have 100-something wins and win the NL West.
He said about 97, 98.
I said 90. I said 94.
Geez.
I said 94.
94.
To be fair,
And the vibes were good preseason.
To be fair to Josh, I didn't think the Giants would be this bad. After last year, winning 107 last year,
it was looking.
I don't want to call a team season a fluke, but it looks exactly. And the sad thing is, you looked at that roster after the season with Posey retiring as well, and you kind of like in the back of your head, you didn't want to believe it because it was a good story. But in the back of your head, you thought they're probably going to regress. But I didn't.
Absolutely.
But to be fair to Josh, I didn't expect it to be this bad.
No.
Oh my God! Like
I want to stay on baseball for now, and I want to get to the theatrics of the end of last night's game.
Timmy Trumpets.
Before I say that, though, anything about that, I swear to everybody listening, I will bring up what I'm about to say later in the show. I'm going to tease it a little bit. Josh, check the Knicks Twitter account right now.
Oh boy. It's nothing good.
No, check Knicks Twitter right now. Everyone at home, check too if you have Twitter. And we will get to that after we finish the baseball conversation.
Get me angry.
We'll get to that after we finish the baseball conversation. But let me just say, I was at Tuesday's game where Timmy Trumpet was supposed to play. The Mets unfortunately lost the game. Diaz didn't come in, whatever. Timmy Trumpet vowed, I will be back the next day, and if Diaz pitches, I will play my trumpet. Here's how that sounded at Citi Field last night. Well, this is from the broadcast, but they did a good job of getting the vibe of the stadium. Listen to this. Shout out to Timmy Trumpet, man.
Wow. You know, when this whole thing was announced, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of unsure. Like, how is it going to sound when he does it live?
I was
really nervous about that.
Here's the reason I was worried. Because I was worried all season, of course, like you and everybody else, but then they had Timmy Trumpet's practicing with Adam Diaz before the game. And I'm glad he doesn't sound like his practice and his actual performance, because that practice was not good.
I hear this.
I was worried.
It's on social media, and he's following Diaz in warm-ups, playing the song, and I was like, this isn't good. If this is what I hear tonight, I want a refund.
And by the way, I said the vibes were immaculate with the New York Mets.
Yeah.
If we do all this like last year, no, that's a blown save. I'm sorry. I have to say it. That's a blown save yesterday.
At this time of year, the collapse was on, right?
Yeah.
To quote many Mets fans, when this song first started, like 2-3 years ago, back when Diaz was terrible, they were like, Diaz sucks now, but if this guy can figure it out and has an entrance like that, it's going to take the world by storm.
I could jump through this glass window right here.
I was going to say, I'm glad there aren't many brick walls down here. I'd be running through all of them.
I listened to that rendition, Timmy Trumpet playing last night, And I want to be Australian. I'm just going to say, I want to be. God, I'm going to get myself a pet wallaby. Oh my God.
Did anybody else?
I see him come out, and then I was joking Matt before the show. I was like, can you imagine if it's not Timmy Trumpet, it's actually Mr. and Mrs. Met playing
the music?
Timmy Trumpet.
He goes, conspiracy theory. Timmy Trumpet can't play the instruments. Mr. and Mrs. Met playing behind him.
Jesus.
But like, no, dude, real quick, did anybody see Timmy Trumpet's interview with Steve Gallup? It's like, I've never heard him speak. I know his music, I never heard him talk. And I'm sure a lot of people picture someone's voice when they see them. Right. And I picture Timmy Trumpet, oh, maybe he looks like a cool dude. He dresses nice, but he sounds really cool. And he goes, hey, Steve, how you doing? I was like, whoa!
This man has Australian blood.
I'm so excited to play with Edward Diaz tonight. I'm like, what is going on?
By the way, speaking of...
Who's dubbing the interview?
On a quick
Steve Irwin, they got quotes from back in the day, and they didn't dub Timmy Trumpet.
On a quick side note, speaking of voices that don't sound like people when you see them.
Who's this?
I had a friend, a longtime friend. I told him I'd do a sports show, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to listen. Because she never heard me talk before. We were just texting.
Yeah.
So she listens, and she tells me, oh, my God, you sound like somebody. I'm like, oh, no, who do I sound like? Who is this? She said I sound like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Nah.
No?
Ooh, I can see a little, no.
Not at all.
I hope not, because that, like, really, like... I was like, no.
She was in the our show?
TikToker.
She was in the our show?
Yeah.
So you weren't doing the Renegade dance and the logo behind you? That wasn't what was going on?
No, I have no TikTok affiliations whatsoever. She just went off my voice. She's like, oh, you sound like Juju.
The last thing I'll say...
I don't want to sound like Juju.
I don't want to get too into the voice conversation. I can go forever, but I'll say in honor of Corey Davis, because he's on vacation right now. I'll say Vontae Davis, and I'll leave it there. You want to do it? You want to do it?
It's a young man's game. It's a young man's game, kid. These boys got it. I can't run with these cats no more.
Corey, if you're listening, that's for you. Corey brings that up every week.
It's rich. It never gets old.
That's always funny. And the best part is that wasn't him with the quote you just said. That was Tre'Davious White. And who was the other guy?
They were mocking him, yeah.
Who was the other guy?
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy, Tre'Davious White. His teammates
really
were like
talks
making
like
fun
that.
of I know.
It's so funny.
Oh my God.
That's the way to quit a job, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Just walk out in the middle like Antonio Brown?
These young cats got it, man. Can't run with him no more.
I want to get into the Yankees briefly, but first, let's remind everybody, in case you're tuning in right now, you are listening to WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. It's Matt, Josh, Braden, and Nico here with you on Thursday afternoon, And let's get into the Yankees briefly. Then I want to do some football to end the show. But
Yankees, I want to open with this.
You want to start with the Yankees? Go for it, Braden.
Josh, I don't know if you watched yesterday, Nico, you obviously knew, but Ross Levine, I hope you're watching, because Ross the other day said, what was it, like the lowest, like comparing like how Garrett Cole always has that one bad inning and it costs him?
And then Mike had the comparison of the year. Mike said, Garrett Cole, this isn't like high school where they drop your lowest quiz grade. That thing counts.
And then, and then we see it last
towards
night.
Your final score,
the
buddy.
Yankees lead going into the sixth inning. And then, obviously, the Angels get 2 on. I didn't watch the game, but I know they got 2 on, and then Shohei Ohtani hits a 3-run bomb. And I think the concern now with the Yankees is obviously the split to Oakland, which is not good. Definitely not good.
No.
And now you lose to another team that's been struggling in the Angels.
Yep.
And you have, like, if there was a 2 series that you had to pick, obviously the Yankees don't have a tough schedule, but as of this moment...
It looks tough for them. That's the problem.
But to get your mojo back, be like, yeah, let's beat the hell out of this crap team, or 2 teams really.
Yeah.
And let's get our mojo back. Let's go home. And now or not home. You go to Tampa. You have a big series with them. But now you split 1. You lose 2 to LA, and now you're going in just 6 games up. So the Tampa Bay Rays, if you win 2 or 3, if God forbid if you sweep, you're in the final month, and you're down to what if they split? It'll be 5 games. They sweep. It'll be 3. I mean, the Yankees are, for a team that was, the most 15 or something up, I think, to be
the highest ever was 15.
To be down to 6. Can you imagine that? A month ago, tell you, your division lead will be down to 6, September 1st.
We crap on the Yankees a lot, but I want to give credit to the Rays. Like we always say, we say like, all these teams below aren't taking advantage, and people say that, and they say that because no one has overtaken the Yankees. 15-game lead is pretty big. Just shrink it to 6. Yeah, the Yankees have been bad, but the Rays are hot.
The New York Yankees, again, they were on pace to break the damn Mariners record Now,
and then
by 4.
Now you'll be lucky to get to 100.
They're on pace to 120.
and you said, Braden, they're only 6 games up now. And guess who the Yankees play 6 games with from September 3rd to the 11th?
Who would that
Tampa.
be?
That would be the Tampa Bay Rays.
Exactly right.
6 games exactly.
And I don't
So,
know if I think you mentioned it. It doesn't matter how bad Tampa Bay is; they will play the Yankees to their
Yes,
limit,
yes.
and that
Oh,
is
of
that
course.
that could make the difference in this series. And you
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Can you
with-
imagine? Do you think this could imagine the Yankees don't win the division? Do you think that is
That's-
the worst?
they can-
Hold on, I have a question. Do you think that is the worst collapse in Major League Baseball?
Let me say this, right? The Yankees could make the playoffs, and I don't care if they win the World Series, get out, whatever. That's still going to haunt them and be embarrassing. And I just want to
What-
say, if the Yankees somehow don't win the division, I think they will. But if they don't, I don't want to hear one more Yankee fan say 07 Mets. I don't want to hear it ever
I know
again.
that'll be
thinking
worse
that.
Ever
than that. It'll be
again.
worse than that. For a team that was at one point, I think they had 62 wins and 20-something losses, right?
Yes.
At some point.
They were there like almost
to be
an 800 winning percentage.
The division was dead. It was done. There was no way any team in the AL East was going to compete with the New York Yankees
That's so
to be
crazy.
sitting here on September 1st, and the AL East has a race to have for any other team sitting here today to say we have a chance to win the AL East. It's ridiculous. You would never think that, but we're sitting here today. We're talking about it. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know how this happened.
You know what I would love? Do you remember the year the Rays were on that magical run? They made the wild card on the walk-off homer on the last day of the season.
Yeah, the Longoria.
Everybody was watching. The Longoria homer over that weird low section of the wall in left field. Very strange construction, but whatever. You all know the homer I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
there's that one little cutout by the
They
foul
came
pole.
back in that game. There was like
They
6-0.
did.
that was a wild game.
I do
That
not
was
know.
crazy.
To this day, I don't know the name of the guy who hit the pinch hit homer. I don't think anyone knew the next year.
Ben Johnson.
That's his
Ben
name?
Johnson.
It lives rent-free in my head.
I-
That final day in 2011.
I would literally not blame you if that was a guess based on demographics of names in America. Like statistics of, let's see, Ben's a popular name, Johnson's a popular last name, let's put them together.
He's a creative
I don't
player.
think his name's Muhammad, most popular name in the world. I don't think it's Muhammad, so let's go with Ben Johnson.
Oh my god.
He's a creative player.
He's
a creative
literally,
player.
when LB the show needs to fill out rosters, you get Ben Johnson. You get like random player, Joe random they do, and then you get like Ben Johnson in there.
Facts.
You're 20 years in the road to the show, and it's Ben Johnson comes to the plate.
I wish Ross Levine was here because I would ask him the question
Yeah.
that a lot of Yankee fans. It's debatable. You can look at it from one or two ways. But if you're a New York Yankees fan, are you scared this next month about the division? And if I'm a Yankees fan, it's got to be yes. It has to be yes.
A little bit
looking at a
you're
team with
lying.
no momentum.
Yeah.
And then you look at the rest of the division, and it's funny because a few weeks ago I was talking about how no team except the Baltimore Orioles has taken advantage of the Yankee slide. But now you got Tampa 6 games back. Blue Jays are 8 back?
By the way, they're 8 games back, the Blue Jays, and they have 9 games against the Yankees.
Oh boy.
No one's talking about them.
The Yankees better. I don't know how they're going to do it because they've been
All these
sliding
defensive
forward.
But the scary thing is, if you play like you did against Oakland, like you did against the Angels, against those two teams, it could be a reality. You could not win this division.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people are like, oh, Braden, you're crazy. And yeah, part of me, this might be my Mets bias, honestly, but it's very easy to believe that the New York Yankees might not win the AL East. And it's shocking because
unbelievable.
we were talking, Yankee fans were talking in like mid-June, like this team's going to the World Series, they're going to win the division, they're going to break the Seattle Mariners record, but it is very possible they don't even win the division. It is very possible. And the other scary thing about it, sorry.
No, go on.
The other scary thing about it is you look at a lot of these teams, the AL East, the Yankees are one of the teams that is not building momentum, and there are a handful of teams in the AL East that could make the postseason. So if the Yankees were to meet one of those teams, it's very believable that even if the Yankees do win the division, they might not get far because they have to play one of those teams potentially.
I cannot wait to see how this plays out. And I personally, as a fan, I don't care who wins that division. I just
No, I'm
want to
more
see.
concerned about Atlanta.
I know, yeah, of course, the Mets fan, Atlanta's my concern right
Yeah.
now. Our division is more concerned than theirs
Yeah.
to me. But as a fan, I just want to see a tight race. I don't care who comes out on top. I wanted to go down to the last day. Again, I don't like the New York Yankees. I'll admit it. If they win the division, good on them. They should win the division. But I want this to come down to the final day of the season. Everyone's scoreboard watching. I love that kind of stuff.
maybe a potential 163rd game again. Who knows?
I live for that in baseball.
What year was that there were two 163rd games? That was
3-4
Milwaukee,
years
Chicago,
ago, and then with the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. No, that was the wild card game. That was different. That was different. The wild card game was Rockies Diamondbacks, and the Rockies got killed.
Oh my God! Wow.
Oh, well.
I mean, just you look at the perspective of where it was at, and now it's like, wow, this could actually happen, and I'm excited to see it happen. I was talking with all my Yankee fans early in the season that I'm friends with. Be like, yeah, and you guys like really have put yourself ahead of everyone. And like now I go to them like, yeah, so how we feeling about that division lead, boys? Like, it's kind of like it's teetering
Getting
on
a
the
little
edge.
close now. Was it you yesterday that said object in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear? Was that you?
Well, Mike was asking about it. Like, yeah, that's the same. Like
that was perfect, by the way. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it up. You mean, like I said, I'm just gonna say 15 games back, down to 6, and now you're in a potential situation where this is the great thing about sports. Anything can happen. Anything, and the entire most of the teams in the AL East have shown that because. Like I said, even as a Met fan in June, I was like, yep, Yankees winning the AL East. But now it's like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun to watch. Even if the Yankees win, I'm not beefing on the Yankees, trust me. But it's going to be fun to watch the AL East for the next 30 days.
For sure. I will end the Yankees conversation, baseball conversation as a whole, by saying this. That line with the rearview mirror, if the Yankees were driving on the LIE, right? Well, let's just put it this way. They were cruising along. There was no traffic in sight. It's all great. Suddenly, a big blue and white car from Tampa with a Florida plate is now a little tailgating you, and you're like, he's in so close to me, he's gonna hit me, but you're a little worried, like, why is he this close to me?
And by the way, the other blue and white car in the right lane.
With a Canada plate for some reason. Why is it here?
Canada,
Toronto, but they're a little.
How'd they get here?
They're a little further behind, but they're still there. They're creeping up on it too.
Yeah, it's just getting a little closer. That race's getting tight.
It's
I
almost
cannot
like
wait to see how it ends.
it's like that scene in Cars where Lightning McQueen and
He
Mater.
sticks his tongue out. And
No,
like,
not even that. When they go into the field and they're tipping all the tracks, like, oh yeah, we got them all. And then here comes the big tractor, and it's like the 3 teams from the AL East that are now right on.
If I had to bet on what we talk about today, never thought you were a Cars reference, and I'm all for it. I love that.
By the way.
Yeah, go.
So, I've real quick. I kept my Yankees hate kept under wraps as best as I could this season.
I did the best I could too. I'm just not doing a good
No, you
job.
did the best you could for 2 weeks.
No.
And last very
I'm
much.
still doing the best I can. That's how big this is.
Yeah, so it's relevant.
I've only mentioned Jeter 3 times this year.
If Matt
Let me
hated the
be.
Yankees this bad, he would have been talking about it already because this is the perfect time.
Yeah, I've only mentioned Jeter 3 times. It's not my usual mention Jeter every day.
That I'll give you credit for that.
Anthony's going to kick this door, and if you mention Jeter, he's going to kick this door, and he's going to RKO you through the table.
I got stories to tell you later about Derek Jeter, but we'll go with that off the air. But what are you going to say, Josh?
Yeah, my Yankees hate is if this league gets down to if we're talking September 14th.
What, within 3 maybe?
If it's within 3.
3 or less?
Oh my God.
I'm hating. I don't care. I'm hating on the Yankees.
Really?
I will hate.
It almost gives you vibes of the NL East last season because the Mets were winning the division by default and then finally got taken over. Now, obviously, this Yankees team is better than last
far
year's
better,
Mets.
yeah.
You would like to think that. But it kind of gives
That's a shot.
It gives me the same vibes because the Yankees just were sitting in the driver's seat, and basically it's kind of like the Mets from last year. It's like someone take me over, and finally it did happen. Atlanta, but now it's also like the Yankees are slowly but surely with the way they've been playing, they're letting teams creep back in, and now all of a sudden it's like they're right on top. He's like, oh crap, this could get out of hand really quickly.
I want to get into a few other things. I promised to talk about the Knicks tweet. You saw it, right? Is that you were laughing?
Yeah, I did.
I'll get into that in a second. You are listening to WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Matt, Braden, Nico, and Josh here with you on this Thursday afternoon, trying to close out the show here, do it strong. The Knicks, I was here upset they didn't get Donovan Mitchell. Josh, would you like to describe their tweet? But before you do that, actually, I want to transition back to basketball. And usually I do, speaking of whatever, and it works. I don't have one for this. I'm just going to do this. It doesn't relate to the Knicks, but it's NBA related. It's funny. So,
what's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward.
He buffered. Why are you buffering?
And the best part is that isn't live. It's pre-recorded, and they use it for every podcast.
Just do another take, man. Why are you buffering?
I've had that in there for a month. I've been waiting to play that for you. Tell us what the Knicks tweeted, please.
Oh, okay. So where do you want me to start? Because they tweeted a few things.
No, the RJ Barrett one. The picture of RJ.
With the braids?
No, the picture of RJ with a little message on top.
Oh, yes.
That's the one.
Okay. So, yeah you want me to
like
read it?
7 minutes after the trade. This was sweet. Go on.
We are thrilled. The
Not
New
that
York
one.
Knicks. No?
Not that one.
Which one?
It says like locked in or something stupid.
Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. Yes. The Knicks. Let me tell you something about the Knicks Twitter account.
Please do.
In the wake of like the worst news you could ever hear, they put like this nicely edited like. Was this on Canva? This is nice graphic design.
I know, yeah.
Like
the one of RJ here?
They think like nice graphic design makes everything better, and you know we're supposed to be happy, and I am about an RJ Barrett extension. I love it. But you just can't tweet that after Donovan Mitchell goes to Cleveland.
You know that was on purpose too.
It was. Oh, absolutely.
This is making me think. Did they know last night something was going to happen?
Come on, man.
And they're like, let's not tweet RJ yet. Let's hold it.
The fact that it was so simultaneous. Shams tweets, Woj tweets, and the Knicks tweet out, congrats to RJ Barrett. They're trying to lighten the blow here. It's not working. It's not working very well.
I want to talk to Knicks PR. I love the RJ at the extension. I love it. This is not the time.
Listen,
we are grieving.
Let the dust settle a little bit, and then maybe on like next Monday. Oh, congratulations to RJ Barrett. We'll be in better spirits by Monday, I think.
Yes.
Why today?
Knowing Knicks fans, they get over this stuff quick. We're used to it. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
We got thick skin. We're New Yorkers, and I want to get the final thoughts, but yeah, we'll do that now. We got a few minutes left. So, Brady, any final thoughts about sports? Anything?
Well, obviously, aside from the Mets game not being played right now,
they're down 2-1. By the way,
why do I say so?
Canna hit a single. They went up 1-0. Taylor drove in 2. Chris Taylor for the Dodgers. 2-1.
What
Dodgers. I think they're in the third. I think I'm not keeping track of that.
No, in terms of baseball, obviously, crucial next. Imagine me saying this like a couple months ago. Crucial next month for both the Mets and the Yankees.
Wow.
I mean, the Mets obviously we knew it that Atlanta was going to be right on them.
Yeah,
Philadelphia's kind of the way they played in Arizona. I don't really like it, to be honest. Aside from the 18-2 schlacking the other night. Which
I mean, Arizona fans won that game. I don't think they like how Philly played.
Yeah, probably.
Philly's up 7-0. They lose 13-7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Philadelphia, I'm not too concerned about, which I don't think a lot of teams are. But I mean, Atlanta's right on, right on the backs of the Mets. So obviously, you got to keep your distance. Matt was talking about it the other day. You got to keep them at arm's length and continue to do so, which they've been good at doing. So you got to keep doing that for the next month. And for the Yankees, I mean, now it's almost like every in-division game the Yankees play now, it almost seems like a postseason game. And that'll be what I'll finish off with.
It'll be fun for Yankee fans to watch if it works out. But Nico, your first show, how'd you like it? Give us your final thought on sports.
Had a great time.
Thank you. We like having you here. What's your final thought for us? Anything sports related? Anything in the world?
Praying on the downfall of the New York Yankees. Praying.
Man, give me a picture.
You're going to fit in fine here. Josh, what do you got?
So, no Jets fans in the room, right?
No.
But we all know...
technically me. I don't watch much, but I watch...
What do you got?
You know of Marcus May, former safety for the Jets.
Yes.
On your Saints, right?
Yeah, I'm going to tie this back to my favorite football team because this is just So we trade one safety 2 days ago.
Yeah, and you lost Marcus Williams, obviously, in the offseason.
We lost Marcus Williams, so we bring in Marcus May as like a nice replacement. You know, it should work out great. You know, cheaper alternative.
Don't tell me he blew his knee or something.
No, worse than that, actually.
Whoa! You got arrested?
He got arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm.
What?
No.
That's not the craziest part, though. Let me read the detail that they put out.
Please do.
If that's not the craziest part.
May was identified as the driver of a black SUV in which he is accused of pointing a firearm at another vehicle that was occupied by several juvenile females.
What?
This guy's pointing a gun at little girls?
All right.
For what reason?
We don't know.
I'm very forced at the end of the show because we got to
What,
get
did they
off
flip
of that.
him off and he lost it?
Yo, we got to talk about this more tomorrow.
We'll talk about this more tomorrow. I mean, I don't have time to get to my full final thought, but I just wanted to play this soundbite. I promised you a soundbite, right? You know, surprise you. Let's just do this.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
Broncos country, let's sign.
ride.
Let's sign.
Let's sign. All right. We'll leave it there with Russell Wilson. I was going to say, talk about his extension. He deserves all the money in the world. Good for that guy.
Yes.
Future Hall of Famer. But that'll do it for us today on WHPC Sports Talk. Rita's up next, and our usual guides to the name of the show aren't here today. So, Rita, you got it?
Profumi d'Italia.
Thank you, Josh. You did a great job. Rita's up next.
Gordy
Stay
would be
tuned.
proud.
Stay tuned for that. This has been WHPC Sports Talk. Thank you for listening. From Brayden, Daniello, Nico, Josh Umahi, I am Matt Leonard saying thank you and have a great rest of your day.